Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. And every Friday, the team at MetaStellar, we read the first few chapters of each of the top 10 sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon. We have been doing this for over a year. We have read a lot of books, and we have a lot of opinions. Today, reading with me were Amira Lutfi, our reviews editor, Alex KOROLOV, our news editor, and helping out with the story was Sydney Levinson. Unfortunately, none of them could join me here today because of work, so it's just me. If you're watching this and you want to get in on the fun, email me. My email is maria@metastellar.com, and all the links are in the description box below. We're always looking for people to join our team. All right, so let's get started. Today's article is linked below as well. So you can click through for all the details and all the links to all the books. Like I said, all these books are free today. They're not going to stay free. Some authors will make their books free for a short time as part of a promotion. So this is your chance to get some great books for the best price possible. All right, so let's get started with Safe Passage by Clay Wise, the second book in the Safe Passage EMP Survival series. Alex read this because he reads all of these books because he loves EMP explosions. So what an EMP does is it takes out all electronics, but keeps all the people and animals untouched. So it's a fantasy for everyone who's really sick of people always being on their smartphones. This is the second book in the series, and Alex just jumped right into reading it. And so he says you're in the middle of an adventure, 5 people traveling through a world that lost all electricity due to that EMP blast. And he says there's also a pandemic that killed a bunch of people too. And the story is told in the first person perspective by Lori, who's traveling through Pittsburgh with her daughter, Eva, and 3 other companions. So he recommends that without knowing these characters and what their backstory is, it's kind of hard to pick it up. And so he recommends going back to reading book 1. So I would recommend that you do that too. The first book is 99 cents, but it is in Kindle Unlimited. So if you're a subscriber to Kindle Unlimited, it won't cost you anything. And Kindle Unlimited, for those who don't know, is kind of like Netflix of ebooks. You pay $10 a month, and you can read all the books you want. For people who read a lot, it's a fantastic deal, and the authors still get paid. So win-win. Okay, so next book on our list is, sorry about that, we had some animal drama behind me. All right, second book on the list is Halfway There by Eve Langlais, the first of 3 books in the Midlife Mulligan Paranormal Urban Fantasy series. The other books are $5 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. So in this story, Naomi is middle-aged. Her kids are grown out of the house, and her husband is leaving her. And he's a huge jerk. And she's got no friends, no career. The house burns down. And all she's left is a cottage left to her by her grandmother in a tiny, quaint little town in Canada. So I've read this story before. I've seen this plot numerous times, including on this list. It's a popular plot, so, you know, it works. So creepy stuff starts to happen to her, and she goes back to her hometown. There's a cute guy living next door. She reconnects with her best friend from childhood, and she learns that the magical stories that her grandma used to tell her are actually true. Her grandmother was a witch. So it's a book about a woman restarting her life, and with some magic thrown in, and a cute next door neighbor. I kind of liked it. It's kind of cozy. I might stick with it. I can't guarantee it, but it's a nice weekend kind of break. Next, we have Legends of Dark Age Wales by Sarah Woodbury, and it's a box set, and it looks like it's 2 books from the picture, but it's actually 6 different books. And these are time travel romance books that where the protagonist is it okay? I've read this like a year ago because it's the second time. No, it's not time travel. Okay, so it's just set in the past. It's a historical fantasy, and it's a romance. And the protagonist is Nell, a woman who lives back in that world, and she has a vision that Mordred soldiers will ambush and kill King Arthur, and she has to work with a knight named Murdrin, one of King Arthur's companions, in order to save him. So it's starting to come back to me now. So I liked Nell, that she's a strong character. The story switches back between her point of view and Murdrin's, which kind of makes me think that they're going to get together. I generally don't like that. I don't like knowing that these 2 characters are going to get together. I know it's something that a lot of people do like, that guaranteed happy ever after is kind of what pulls people in. But in my case, not so much. I'm old and jaded, and I don't want that mushy stuff. So I didn't go back to finish this, but if that's something that you do like, there's a lot of books here. Normally their books are $3 each, so it's a fantastic bargain. If you're a fan of historic fantasy, check it out. Next we have Empyrean Witch by J.S. Malcom, the first of 3 books in the Demigoddess Chronicles urban fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and they are in Kindle Unlimited. So I started reading this book. This is the first of this series. And Cassie's waiting for her friend Julia to meet her in front of a house. Julia, who rides up on a motorcycle, used to share a body with Cassie for 15 years. And I read that and I was like, all right, that sounds way too familiar. Didn't I just read a book where 2 people, one of them a witch, shared a body for 15 years? And I was right. This series, Demigoddess Chronicles, is a spin-off of another series, the Fey Witch Chronicles. And I reviewed the first book of that series. It was called Realms of Gods and Magic back in March. And I haven't finished that other series yet, so I'm not going to read this book just now. So I don't want to spoil anything for myself. And in that book, Cassie ran a supernatural cleaning service. She's a psychic. She's got to eat, her rent is due. And so she kind of like exterminates ghosts and stuff for people. I like Cassie. I liked her backstory. She was abducted as a child and then wound up, spending 15 years in somebody else's body. And it took her a while to get back to her real self. And now she sees ghosts everywhere. So the writing style is reminiscent of Kelly Armstrong, who I love. So I really like this, but I was getting the sense that there was a lot of this back history that I was missing. Well, what about those 15 years that she spent, in somebody else's body? So I finally looked it up. And this series is a continuation of another series called the Realms Watcher series, also in Kindle Unlimited. So I might go and read that book first. And if I were you, that's what I would do. But it's fun if you like Kelly Armstrong, if you like urban fantasy, kick-ass kind of books with strong protagonists, check it out. Okay, so then we have The Wanderer's Escape by Simon Goodson. And this is the second time this author has been on the list. He was on this list a year ago last April. This is the first of 8 books in the Wanderer's Odyssey Space Exploration series. The other books are $4 each, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited. So the story is that Jess was born a slave in space. He's never been on a planet's surface. And his captors use him and other prisoners as cannon fodder in space battles. And so the people who keep them prisoner are investigating a mystery spaceship for booby traps. And so they send in prisoners first to see, if to spring any traps. During that process, he and 2 fellow prisoners are mysteriously freed from their slave control collars and use the ship that they're on to escape. And I really like that ship, and I really like the escape. It was a great beginning. Jess is a passive character at the start of the book. Things just happen around him. I do prefer my characters to have a little bit more agency. But they like head off into space. The first thing they do is they come across a distress signal, and they save a family of smugglers from the Empire's forces and blow up one of the Empire's ship in the process. So they kind of wind up getting involved in this war here. And it turns out that this ship that Jess and the other 2 prisoners stole is controlled by a powerful AI that can do almost anything, and was just sitting around waiting for someone to tell it what to do. And that's always been a fantasy of mine, to have a super powerful AI show up and just want to do my bidding. It's the I Dream of Genie fantasy, but in AI form. So I'm all in favor of that. I love this premise, and I recommend that book highly, and you can get it free from Amazon today. All right, next is a book that I was really surprised to see on this list, because it's a children's picture book. It's only a few pages. It's called Rudi the Rutabaga by Stephen Megson, the first of 2 books in the Rudi the Rutabaga children's book series. I guess it's fantasy, because Rudi the Rutabaga is a talking rutabaga. So technically it qualifies, but doesn't really fit in with the rest of the book on this list. But it's a short story with cute pictures. The rutabaga is lonely, sitting by himself while the other vegetables play and have fun. And then a couple of those other vegetables come over and say, "Hey, Rudi, do you want to go play with us?" And he says, "Sure." And they play together and have fun. That's it. That's the story. Sorry to spoil the ending for you. At the end, there's a little quiz and a puzzle where kids can look for differences between 2 pictures. I guess it's okay. I don't think this book is destined to be a childhood classic, but it's a fun way to spend a few minutes if you have a Kindle and kids between the ages, like the preschool kind of age. So you can pick this up because it's free. Why not? All right, next we have Cloudy with a Chance of Witchcraft, and it's by Mandy Roth, the first of 6 books in the Grim Cove Paranormal Romance series. The other books are $6 to $7 each. The last 2 are available for pre-order and are coming out this coming July and in November. And the whole series is in Kindle Unlimited. So Poppy's husband is a jerk and he's leaving her. Her kids are grown, not at the house. Her magical grandmother has died and is leaving her a house in a cozy town. I have heard this before, literally 5 minutes ago, when I was describing the previous book on this list. So yeah, this is a very common premise that shows up a lot. So I was expecting to read a story about a scorned woman who slinks back to her hometown to lick wounds and do some magic and hook up with a hot neighbor. But for a change, Poppy surprised me. Instead of like slinking away and licking her wounds, she dumped the creep's dinner into his lap at the fancy restaurant where he broke the news. She immediately called two ass-kicking friends to help her kick the guy's ass. And she went home with a cute young waiter. Like, go Poppy. Yeah. All right, I'm in. Meanwhile, in that cozy town, Grim Cove, Poppy's childhood crush is now chief of police, and he's a former special ops soldier, and he's a werewolf. And the town is full of supernatural beings, and there's also been a string of mysterious murders. So I really like this book. This is my favorite one of today's list, and I'm definitely going to be reading that one this weekend. I like cozy paranormal mysteries. I like tough female protagonists. I like books with a little bit of sass, and this one has it. So I'm going to look forward to finishing it this weekend. Next, we have the Legend of Mermaid Cliff by Brandon Rohrbaugh. The first book in the Awakening trilogy, a young adult urban fantasy. The other two books are currently available for pre-order and are due out later on this summer. So Mark is a high school student when his friend Veronica dies after falling off Mermaid Cliff, or maybe she's thrown off. He's the last one who saw her alive, except that his best friend tells him that he actually saw Veronica with some other kids after the two of them parted. One of those other kids is Mark's brother. And Mermaid's Cliff has a history. Every 25 years, like clockwork, someone dies there. So the national media show up, and so does the FBI. And for some reason, Mark's friend doesn't tell the cops about what he saw. And for some other reason, don't know why, Mark decides that he's going to be the one who's going to investigate her death. So kind of a Veronica vibe kind of thing going on, but without the snarky humor. So if you like a slightly more serious, grim teenage detective solving girlfriend's murder kind of story, check this out. A little too depressing for me, which is to be expected given the subject matter. But I'm not really in a mood for depressing stories. And also, I hate young protagonists. I have no patience for people who are still in school, and I think they're too whiny. So I am not the target audience for this one. But if you are, check it out. Next, we have Tordotcom Publishing's debut sampler of the year, with a whole bunch of short pieces by like excerpts from novels and novellas of Tor's debut authors. So it's kind of a little sampler, so you can check out a whole bunch of brand new names. Names good enough to get a traditional publisher, namely Tor. So Amira Lutfi read this one. She read the first sample from the book Battle of the Linguist Mages, and it's funny and very intelligently written. That book is on my reading list. It's queued up on my Kindle shelf, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. So Amira says that the story is told from the point of view of a very enthusiastic gamer of something called the Sparkle Dungeon role-playing game. And the protagonist keeps bragging about their stats and their weapons and their in-game skills and won't shut up about how well they're doing in the game. And then the player is so good at the game that they're becoming a nuisance because they've defeated the previous 3 installments of the game and are just became the first to defeat the 4th installment. So the protagonist gets the unique prize that goes with it. And it's annoying for the game developers to have the same person win the prize every time. And she says that all the other samples also are intriguing and quirky and well written. And so her first impression is that she likes it quite a bit and highly recommends it. And it's free. And I love seeing big name publishers start offering books for free as well, because who doesn't love free books from big name publishers? Finally, the last book on today's list is Red Dragon's Flame by Anastasia Wilde, the 5th book in the 5-book Darkwing Dragons series of paranormal romance. The other books are $1 to $3 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So Amira didn't want to spoil the series for herself or for you guys. So she reviewed the first book in the series, Dark Dragon's Mate. And this is actually the second time this series has been on this list. And so the review is from when she read it the first time. So Trish is a wolf shifter, and she's going up a mountain to a Gothic castle to talk to the Draken Prince of Malmaderi. And her wolf is going crazy and she needs medication to control it. As she struggles up the mountain, a powerful storm hits, and this is all taking place in an interdimensional bubble between the human world and the Dragonlands. And so she wants to talk to this guy, the Draken Prince, because he could help her, even though he's known to be dangerous and crazy. The rumor is that he's mentally unstable and too wild to go near civilization. He'd rather just huddle in this castle with his servants and treasure. And Trish is hoping that he can help her before he completely loses his mind. Then as she's going up this mountain, she sees a dragon in the sky, a beautiful dragon who seems to be deliberately throwing himself into the lightning. And he keeps getting hit and just keeps flying at it. So, so then we switch to the dragon's point of view, because it's a love story and we get both protagonist sides. So apparently, he's deliberately flying into the lightning, even though it hurts, because he likes it. And then he sees Trish and almost kills her. And so Amira strongly suspects that these two are going to fall in love. And she thinks it's awesome. And she says she likes the nuttiness. All right. So those were the 10 books from today's free science fiction and fantasy shelf on Amazon. Since I forgot to mention it earlier, MetaStellar is an online magazine of science fiction and fantasy and horror. And all of the stuff that we publish is totally free for everybody. We publish original fiction, reprints, excerpts, essays, books, reviews, lots and lots of book reviews. And we're able to do this thanks through the kind support of our Patreon supporters. So thank you very much, you guys. We love you. And we're able to publish all the fiction that we do, hundreds of stories, thanks to your support. So check it out. If you like seeing this kind of content, please support us or like us, share, all that usual stuff. And if you don't want to miss any of the shows, hit the bell button to get the notifications, because we do this every single Friday. Yeah, we haven't missed a day. All right, see you all next week. Bye, everybody. Okay, now, bye, everybody. I found the stop recording button. It took me a little while.